predominantly male careers.
Well, I mean, look, Ash Costello is up on stage right now. You know, my wife is a musician. There's, in terms of my world, there's probably more girls on stage on this tour than I've ever seen before, and it goes more and more every year. I think that that stigma is getting taken away largely, and I think that that's really exciting because I see no reason why a woman can't do anything a man can do, and that I think it's total bullshit. So I support you in being a diesel mechanic, and fuck the guys who say they can't do it. You're probably better than them anyway. Anybody else? Where are you pointing? It's all questions just in one area. Blame him. Write in to TEI. Complain. His name's Gianni. That's me. Hello.
I'm May. I wanted to know, like, how and when did you meet the rest of your band members?
Over the course of several years, just through being in Los Angeles and meeting. I mean, there's no, like, unfortunately, there's no, like, wonderful story of, like, we all walked into each other somewhere and we're like, hey, you have the same hair as me, and then we're in a band. But truthfully, it was just about meeting people that had similar interests. When I moved to LA, I didn't know really anybody, and I had, like, one or two people that I had met who were musicians, and they knew some people, and they knew some people, and this guy knew this guy, and, like, in some ways, people joining the band, it can be something as simple as, like, we wanted to record demos, and we didn't have the proper gear, and Jake had the right kind of computer conspiracy. To do that.
Hi.
Hello.
My name's Cabella.
Hi, Cabella.
So, you were talking about how you liked how Nashville was so supportive.
Yes.
So, I was wondering if you would, like, since you're starting to be a solo, if you were going to come and, like, tour as a solo.
In Nashville?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I would love to be here more often. You know, I have so many people that, by the way, I mean, I'm sure that you guys all live here. You're aware that Nashville has become like the new LA in terms of people moving here. I mean, I know 15 people in the last year that moved out of Los Angeles to Nashville. My wife Juliet made a record here about 2 years ago and fell in love with it, and she wants to move here so much. So maybe that'll be in my future. Who knows?
Oh shit!
You can all come to my house, I guess. I don't know.
Don't give anybody your address, we'll all stalk you.
Okay, all right. Oh, the cord's not long enough. That's not your fault. Yeah.
Hey.
Hello.
I'm Carly.
Hi, Carly. I like you got such cool shit going on.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
First of all, I want to thank you just for everything that you've done. For me personally, I know that you don't know me, but I feel like I've learned a lot from your music and just in general from learning lessons from you over the years and what you've done for music. I want to thank you, first of all. And my question...
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Yeah. My question comes to, like, sorry, I struggle a lot with, like, nervousness, and I don't want to get deep here with my, like, too deep with my question. I get really nervous and I have really bad anxiety, and I was wondering if you've ever dealt with anything like that, and if you did, how you overcame it.
Yeah. First of all, thank you for sharing that with me. Second of all, tremendously so. I mean, probably a lot of people know that I struggle with anxiety and have my whole life. When I was younger especially, it was very difficult for me to do a lot of things. I had a lot of fears of random shit. I had a lot of obsessive tendencies and things like that. And I still do. It's just that as I got older, first of all, I'll go back a little bit. When I was really young, I went to school and was in, like, middle school in the wake of, like, the Columbine shootings, which is when they sent school psychologists into schools to target and find problem children that they thought were listening to heavy metal music and were going to, you know, shoot the school or whatever. And so naturally, being a kid who wore all black and listened to punk rock music or whatever else, I was targeted, I guess, as a trouble student. And they suggested a bunch of different medications and stuff, and it just never really was for me. I always kind of felt like it didn't make me feel like myself. And so for me, the issues that I had and to utilize them for the better. Now, I think that I like to think the reason that I'm good at what I do or that I have success at what I do is because I'm incredibly detail driven, and I think a lot of that comes from the anxieties that I have. It also makes me, particularly when I was younger, difficult to be around. It's taken me a long time to kind of calm down, and as I get older, it gets easier. But when we first started touring, I was just a ball of anxiety and nerves and, like, not stage fright, but, like, I needed everything to go exactly the way it was supposed to go. And actually, you know what? People see videos of me freaking out on stage and yelling at people, whatever else. Truth of the matter is, I'll just give you an example. If you and I, anyone here, we built a house of cards together, right? my personality, or at least it was more when I was younger, is that if you and I built something together and you did something that I didn't like, I would rather knock the whole thing down than keep building with you. And that's not really that conducive to being an adult or a functioning adult. And when I would drink, which was a way of coping with my anxiety and everything else, it would elevate that part of my personality so much so that if I'm playing a show and it's supposed to go this way and it has to go this way and the way that I'm thinking about it has to be the way it goes, and then somebody does something that isn't part of the show the way I see it, my lizard brain would kick in and tell me, now we have to stop the whole show to yell at this guy for a half hour. And that obviously is not healthy, obviously it was not good for me, but I'm not trying to blame alcohol on all my problems, but for me personally, I realized, the reason I stopped drinking is I realized that I was using alcohol as a way of coping with my anxieties and my fears and my obsessive tendencies and all that. And what I needed to do was to try to reharness those things the way I did when I was younger.